to the Power of Pro Wrestling podcast, the podcast for wrestling fans by wrestling fans. Now we have a special podcast today. I'm not going to be joined by Mr. Heineken. He is on assignment, so I'm going to be joined by my guest host today, Mr. Joe. How you doing today, Joe?
I'm doing great. How about you, Robert?
I'm doing good. You ready for the holiday season coming up?
Oh yeah, let's bring it. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, and speaking of the holiday season, this is our first segment, so we're going to be talking about kind of the holiday season, and this being WWE week on USA, and they're having the TLC pay-per-view. So we have a few minutes to discuss that, so kind of briefly tell me, we're just going to parlay all this one, kind of what were your favorite moments of TLC, Raw, SmackDown, Tribute to the Troops, just kind of tell me what have been your favorite moments that have happened this week in WWE.
Well, I'll say starters, TLC. I mean, my favorite moment of TLC was obviously the main event with Bray Wyatt and Dean Ambrose. I mean, they're main eventing a pay-per-view, two upcoming superstars. It's not the Cena, Ortons, Lesnar's, any of those top main eventers. It's actually two recently new guys from NXT in the past coming into the main roster and who finally main eventing a pay-per-view second time this year. Also, on Raw, I like this, that cage match between Cena and Rollins. They're main eventing on Raw, Seth Rollins of all people. Who ever respect him from the Shield main eventing Raw, even a couple of pay-per-views in the past. My favorite, NXT, their main show. Their whole entire show was the blast. I mean, from the bottom of the card to the top of the card, from the first match to the very last match with the main event with Kevin Owens. With the Assassins, or is it Assassins? Yeah. I mean, my favorite, Finn Balor. I liked his entrance. That was like the awesome entrance I ever seen. So SmackDown, it was Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins. Once again, main eventing a show 2 days in that whole week. What do you expect? Their WWE is actually changing for once. They're giving these younger talents the opportunity to show what they have to offer.
Yeah, and I mean, you do make some great points, and I mean, my favorite moments obviously have to go back to TLC. I like Ziggler, Harper. I think that ladder match was praised, that starting off hot and heavy. And I was glad that Ziggler got the IC title back. I don't feel like they should have gave it to Luke Harper. I understand why they did it in terms of storyline, but I'm glad Ziggler has it. And it looks like he's on his way up to breaking through that glass ceiling to be that top-level star again. In terms of Raw, I mean, and we have to mention two returns. Well, the night before at TLC, Roman Reigns coming back and helping out Cena to win his match against Rollins. And then Brock Lesnar being on Raw and attacking Chris Jericho, which Jim for the night. So I love that. Hit him with Lana and Rusev was great. And that segment with Ryback coming out, that was amazing too. So that was great. And then obviously you mentioned the cage match. I enjoyed that with Brock Lesnar coming out and attacking John Cena to let Seth Rollins win. And SmackDown having Ziggler and Rollins being in the main event and having Ziggler get that big important win. I was kind of happy for that as well. And I mean, NXT having the fallout from last week's NXT R Evolution, which you mentioned, great show from top to bottom. Sami Zayn finally capturing the NXT championship. I enjoyed that. And then Kevin Owens coming out and attacking him. I felt that was done. That took too long for him to do that. I understand why they did it for time's sake, but I enjoyed that. I don't feel they should have necessarily made him a heel off the get-go in his debut, but I did enjoy that. And obviously, mention Tribute to the Troops. Any moments there that you enjoyed you want to mention before we go to commercial break quickly?
Tribute to the Troops, I enjoyed seeing, the familiar faces, especially with Hulk Hogan coming out there. We all, with the Troops, he's really well known with the Troops in the past, what he did. And, of course, come out there with flying the American flag, showing that this country is still out there, supporting the world, supporting the troops, the troops that have done for this country, what they're doing for other countries. I'm glad what they're doing for that, and obviously, their main event was, a 6-man tag with pretty much Team Cena versus Team Authority again. Obviously we've seen that with the Survivor Series. It wasn't much of a surprise what they did, but like I said, the moment of that show was Hulk Hogan come out there and showing his respect to the troops.
Yeah. And that's all the time we have in this first segment. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back right after this.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chris Heineken.
And I'm Robert Red.
And we are the host of the Power of Pro Wrestling Podcast, PPWP, the wrestling podcast for the wrestling fans. We're currently looking for sponsors. If you or your business is interested in sponsorship for this podcast, you can contact us via email at jonesprowrestling@gmail.com. That's jonesprowrestling@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. So just chill out, enjoy the show, and thanks.
Hello, everyone. This is Robert Red.
I'm Chris Heineken.
And our show can be heard on Stitcher. Stitcher is radio on demand.
Download the free app today.
You can listen anytime and anywhere.
Stitcher is an award-winning free app that lets you listen to all your favorite shows, plus discover from 20,000 news, entertainment, and sports shows.
You can even create custom playlists.
Over 20,000 shows to discover.
You can rate and review the show on Stitcher.
Also available on iOS, Android, Nook, and iPad.
And along with that is in 4 million car dashboards.
And it's on demand and on the go.
No downloading, no syncing, and no wasted memory.
Stream your favorite podcasts.
Well, if you don't have Stitcher, you can download it free today at Stitcher.com or in your app store. And welcome back to the Power of Pro Wrestling. I'm still here with my guest host, Joe. You still doing good?
Yes, I am. Let's bring it.
Okay. As you know, this is our second segment, and this is our discussion topics for the podcast. And I'm going to start with question number 1, and it is, should WWE utilize its entire roster on Monday Night Raw? So kind of wanted to get your thoughts, Joe, on that. Should they or shouldn't they use their entire roster for a 3-hour Raw? So go ahead and give me your feedback for that.
I believe they should utilize the whole roster for a 3-hour show. Now, if 1 hour, 2 hours, no. But 3 hours, yes. Because you have a whole entire roster there who's sitting in the back, wants some exposure, and you got 3 hours spare. As a promoter, 3 hours spare, that's a long time. A long time to use pretty much all your roster, plus some extra time for other entertainment or other exposure to other things you got up in your hands. But as for 3 hours, yes, utilize them.
Okay, well, I'm going to actually go the opposite direction with you and go no, for the simple fact of if you utilize your entire roster on a Monday Night Raw, you're going to see the same old stars week after week after week after week, and you're going to get bored. It's going to be the same old, to where you're just going to get bored of it. Plus, if you utilize your entire roster, or you're not going to have anybody, you're going to have like SmackDown and these other shows, you're going to have the same guys that we just saw on Raw, so it's going to even get more boring quicker because you're going to use the same old, not only on Raw, but it's going to be SmackDown, our main event, Superstars. We're going to see the same old stars week after week. So, to me, on a 3-hour show, you should not utilize your entire roster. And this brings me back to an earlier podcast of the 3+ hour show for Raw. Raw shouldn't be 3+ hours for the simple fact of the not having a roster that you can utilize and stuff, but it takes away from the pay-per-views and stuff like that. So that's why I think and feel that they should not utilize the entire roster, because you can Raw is supposed to be the A show where you utilize your top-tier talent, your John Cena's, your Randy Orton's, your Brock Lesnar, stuff like that. Let SmackDown build your new stars that really don't get that TV time, that aren't that star, and you can build them back up to be that next star, like Ziggler and Seth Rollins and them. You can let them be on Raw, but you can give them more time or the newer stars to develop them on SmackDown so they can mean something on Raw. So I don't feel that you should utilize the entire roster on Monday Night Raw. And this brings me to our second question. Is wrestling better on radio or television? So with the shift from radio, obviously, back in the day to television with being black and white, now color, do you feel wrestling would have been better if it was still on radio, and have a radio broadcast of wrestling, or do you feel that it's better on television?
To be honest with you, I would pick both. They would be better for both. But as your question to be answered, television, because you can see the talent being used. You also can see the the moves they use. It's better exposure to the wrestlers, to the audience. You can see what they do on TV compared to radio, because all you can listen to is what you hear, and you can't. If you have a good imagination, it works for you. But people nowadays don't have that imagination to imagine ahead what they're performing in the ring. Because like if somebody use the phrase suplex, like not many people know what a suplex is. So, and somebody who doesn't have that big of imagination, they're like suplex, okay. So they might thinking of them using a powerbomb on the wrestler instead of a suplex. No, a suplex is a suplex, and in order to know what that is, you gotta watch it on TV.
Yeah, I mean, you do make some good points, and I'm going to agree with you with the whole television. Now, I would say both because you would have more exposure, and that's good for a product of any kind. But for television, and I'm going to give my reasons for this. Wrestling is such a visual medium, if you really think about it, and just from the storytelling aspect. If you look at professional wrestling, their storytelling in the ring, and it's been considered Shakespeare to the masses by many people who have stated that. So wrestling is very much a visual medium, and if you look just at the facial expressions, the emotions that are conveyed, you can't necessarily convey that through radio. I mean, the announcers can try to sell it and stuff on radio, but it's just such a visual medium and has such a greater impact on television than if it would on radio. Oh, and this goes to, I'm going to kind of pull out my sports hat here since we don't have Mr. Heineken, but baseball, all these other sports, basketball, aren't very much a visual medium. They make a basket, or they hit the baseball, or they throw the football. It's not so much a visual medium. There's no emotion conveyed in the actual action of what's going on, whereas wrestling is very much a visual medium with the action and everything you're saying. So to me, wrestling is a lot better on television than it would be on radio. And like I said, on radio, you still go, and maybe even for the same reasons that you mentioned, some people may not know the difference in moves and stuff, so it may help to visually see a move so people know what it is. Because like I said, it's more visual medium than any other sport. So I mean, it's just better on TV. And we've kind of got a few minutes left here, so I kind of wanted to discuss a very hot topic, and we can kind of go off topic on this. Back around Thanksgiving, CM Punk appeared on Colt Cabana's podcast, The Art of Wrestling, and kind of did a tell-all interview about WWE and stuff. But the question I want to pose to you, he came out the next week, and he announced he is going to be fighting here soon in UFC. So, Joe, what are your thoughts on CM Punk and being successful in UFC? And was this a good move? Kind of just what's your thoughts overall about CM Punk and UFC going to mixed martial arts?
For CM Punk being MMA, mixed martial arts, I think it's a okay move. I mean, yeah, he would be doing good at the beginning, like most of those wrestlers going to mixed martial arts, like Batista's, the Bobby Lashley, Walt Lesnar's. But eventually, they're going to go in there, they're going to win some bouts, and they may lose some, but then it's not the same as wrestling and the other promotions. Like UFC is all about kickboxing and all that. It's not about entertainment. It is to a point, but it's not. It's more about fighting and entertainment. And CM Punk going into UFC, it's going to be like him going to totally the opposite direction. Instead of entertaining, he's going there to defend his body, defend his right to be in the octagon circle, not to go in there to entertain the fans. So it may be successful now when he first did because it's all the exposure. But once the UFC fighters go in there, they're going to prove him that this isn't WWE. This isn't entertainment. This is for real. And I don't believe he has the balls to be up there with those top guys in UFC.
Well, I'll kind of give my feedback on it since we have a few minutes left on this segment. I feel it's very hypocritical of CM Punk, and I'm going to say why. his biggest complaint in WWE like a couple years ago was WWE bringing back these name brand stars and these main eventers like The Rock and Brock Lesnar, Batista, and being put in the main event because of their name value. Yet he's going to UFC and doing the exact same thing. That's very hypocritical. And I am probably as much as a CM Punk fan as you can have a CM Punk fan. I was referred to as CM Punk probably 10 years ago by our mutual friend James, and hopefully we can have him on the podcast one day. But to me, it's very hypocritical of CM Punk being that. Now, I think he can be successful in UFC if he fights the right people and gets more training and stuff like that. He's not without training, and I think a lot of people don't know that. He's worked with the Gracies. Which you should be familiar, hopefully, someone with the Gracies, because if Eve Torres married, I believe it was Rhaenyra Gracie. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
You're right.
But he's been working with the Gracies, and he does have some MMA training. So, I mean, he's not going in like you or me who don't necessarily have as much MMA training. So, I mean, I feel he'll be successful. And plus, from what we hear about his work rate and work ethic and stuff like that, and I feel he can be successful, win, lose, or draw. But something I know that we talked about earlier about him being in the UFC, he's got to win. If he doesn't win, his UFC career is going to be a bust.
And I agree. If he goes in and he gets if he gets beat from left to right, and he ever decides to go back to WWE, the fans will never look at him at the same again, because he was big bad in WWE, went to UFC. Be treated like a little puppy, go back to WWE, he'd be like a little puppy again, still. And he would never be like the big dogs.
Okay. And that's all the time we have for this segment. After this quick commercial break, we'll be back with Rapid Fire, my favorite segment. So stay with us, guys, and we'll be back right after this.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chris Heineken.
And I'm Robert Red.
And we are the host of the Power of Pro Wrestling Podcast, PPWP, the wrestling podcast for the wrestling fans. We're currently looking for sponsors. If you or your business is interested in sponsorship for this podcast, you can contact us via email at jonesprowrestling@gmail.com. That's jonesprowrestling@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. So just chill out, enjoy the show, and thanks.
Hello, everyone. This is Robert Red.
I'm Chris Heineken.
And our show can be heard on Stitcher. Stitcher is radio on demand.
Download the free app today.
You can listen anytime and anywhere.
Stitcher is an award-winning free app that lets you listen to all your favorite shows, plus discover from 2 to 20,000 news, entertainment, and sports shows.
You can even create custom playlists.
Over 20,000 shows to discover.
You can rate and review the show on Stitcher.
Also available on iOS, Android, Nook, and iPad.
And along with that is in 4 million car dashboards.
And it's on demand and on the go.
No downloading, no syncing, and no wasted memory.
Stream your favorite podcast.
Well, if you don't have Stitcher, you can download it free today at Stitcher.com or in your app store. And welcome back to the Power of Pro Wrestling. This is our Rapid Fire segment. Rapid Fire!
Rapid fire!
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 Okay.
Yeah. So that's enough of that. So with this being our third segment, we're doing Rapid Fire as usual. And our question for Rapid Fire for this podcast is going to be potential opponent Brock Lesnar for the WWE World Heavyweight title. So you're going to answer yes or no if you could believe that could be Brock Lesnar for the WWE World Heavyweight title. And I'm going to I've got a list of them, and I'm going to read them in random order. So we're going to start with Dolph Ziggler. Yes or no?
No, because he's injury prone. Going in that ring with him, he's probably going to get hit, and Brock Lesnar's going to perform some powerful moves on him, and he's going to get hurt.
And, I mean, I can agree with the whole him not beating Brock Lesnar based on size. My biggest problem when people do it based on size is you don't look at the other factors and stuff like that to where it can be strategy, not necessarily. But I do agree with no. And next we have Big Show.
No. And like you said, size doesn't matter. Big Show had faced Brock Lesnar before in the past, and that was way back in 2002, 2003. And yes, Brock Lesnar was younger, and Big Show did beat him a few times. But as of right now, no, because Brock Lesnar does have the agility factor behind his back. Big Show is a little bit slower in the ring compared to Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar and Big Show have a history, and Brock Lesnar probably will have maybe a 80% chance of beating him in the ring.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm in agreement just from the simple fact of when Brock Lesnar has been back the last few years, there's especially probably less than a year ago, him beating up on Big Show and stuff like that. So I don't see Big Show beating Brock Lesnar to become WWE World Heavyweight Champion. So I can agree with you on that. Next one we have is Mark Henry.
I would say no. Same fact of Big Show's side doesn't matter. Mark Henry in the ring, he can probably put a good fight against Brock Lesnar. But like I said, Brock Lesnar has now the mixed martial art background, so he can probably go around circles of Mark Henry.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm in agreement with you on this one too. I mean, he's handed Mark Henry his behind on several occasions, so I'm in agreement saying no. So let me throw you a curveball here. Triple H.
I'll say yes. And I mean, the reason why I say yes is because, yes, we know that he lost against Brock Lesnar in the past, but Triple H isn't a super assassin for nothing. He will not lose again against Brock Lesnar. He will find a way to take him out, and I believe he has the tools and the knowledge to take Brock Lesnar out.
And I can agree with you. I could say, yes, Triple H could beat Brock Lesnar. He did beat him at WrestleMania 29. I don't know how Triple H fares in the ring now per se, but he's one of those physical wrestlers that I believe could beat Brock Lesnar to become WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Whether or not that happens in the future remains to be seen. Now let's go with the hotly debated Roman Reigns.
I would say the way his career started right now, I say yes, because he has the energy. He's young, he's hungry, and for a talent like him, who's hungry, he's young, who wants to make an impact, who wants to prove that he belongs in WWE, I believe he has the right mind in his head to go in the ring and defeat Brock Lesnar.
Well, I mean, he certainly is a believable guy, so I could say yes, beating him. Him winning the Rumble to actually go to Mania to beat Brock Lesnar. So, I mean, and I do see him to where he could beat Brock Lesnar for the WWE World Heavyweight title if Brock Lesnar is still champion come Mania. And got a few left here. I want to pick Randy Orton.
Oh, I love this one. I would definitely say yes, because Brock Lesnar has not faced Randy Orton that I know of, to my knowledge. And Orton is a good in-ring talent. He will take his time to figure you out in that ring. He will find the weakest part of your body and he'll take you out. And Orton, to me, reminds me of a UFC fighter in a ring. But instead of an octagon, he'd be in a square circle. And if Orton had his chance, one-on-one with Brock Lesnar, I definitely say he has the upper edge.
Okay, and we're going to end this with either or. Batista or Daniel Bryan? Yes on both, no on both, yes, no, kind of what are your picks?
I would say yes on Daniel Bryan, or a no to Batista. No Batista because Batista going in the ring, he's pretty much washed up. He doesn't have the heart. And going in the ring with Brock Lesnar, he probably won't be able to put his full effort out there because he doesn't have the heart. Daniel Bryan does. And he go in there with all the heart, all the energy. He go in there to show the fans that I'm here for you. I will show you that I am still the man to beat, not Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, I would say Batista would be believable. I don't know if he would. And Daniel Bryan, back to size, but I mean, he showed he could beat Batista. So I mean, he potentially could beat, being fully healthy, he could beat Brock Lesnar. And a lot of people I know are going to crap on me for that, but. And I believe he could do it. But I do want to thank you, Joe, for joining me for the Power Pro Wrestling podcast.
You're welcome.
So, obviously, here in a few weeks, we're going to hopefully have a match of the year. Here, hopefully, we can have you back on if things work out.
Oh, yes.
I'm sure we'd love to have you back.
this won't be the second time it happened. I
Yeah.
guarantee you it will happen a few extra times.
Yeah. But we want to thank you guys for joining us on the podcast, and we hope you have a happy holiday season, whether it be Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. I hope you enjoy it and you have happy holidays. Once again, thank you for joining us, Joe. And that's all from us from the Power Pro Wrestling Podcast.